It's been a dramatic week for the Cincinnati Bengals. That drama does not relent today. Shamar Stewart still not practicing. Let's get into it.
You are Locked On Bengals, your daily Cincinnati Bengals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What up, Bengals fans, and welcome to another episode of the Locked On Bengals podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Jake Liscow. He's James Rapien, and we've been covering the Cincinnati Bengals here on Locked On Bengals since 2016. The everydayers already know that. Welcome back to those of you who make us part of your everyday routine, all of you who make Locked On Bengals your first listen. If you're looking to join either of those wonderful clubs of Bengals fans, you can hit that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss an episode, as we'll have you updated on all of the drama and what a dramatic week it has been all offseason long, and of course into the regular season, the schedule of which we are now aware. We talked a lot about the schedule yesterday. We'll circle back to that a little bit more today after having some time to digest it, but we're going to start with what's going on with Shamar Stewart. Continues to, as far as we know, not participate in Bengals practices. We've got a little bit of a tidbit about Cincinnati wanting to host a draft in the future. That could be a lot of fun. And then we'll finish by circling back to that schedule. But starting, James, with Shemar Stewart as the Bengals rookie, first-round pick, continues not to practice. And we've, I think, kind of touched on this a little bit this week, but we haven't had time to dig into it. The contract isn't signed, and allegedly there are issues with the Cincinnati Bengals waiver that covers rookies from injury that every team in the NFL uses before their pick or before their contract is signed. And that's why Stewart is still sitting out.
And it's if that's the case, and I say if because we're not in the room, right? So just to make sure that's the case. So I'll give that disclaimer. It is the dumbest thing ever. I cannot get over it. It does not make any sense. And there are going to be people that are like, come on, Shamar should go out there. And it's like, well, yeah, he should. He should go out there and practice. But if he gets hurt, it should be covered. His contract's going to be guaranteed anyway the moment he signs it. It's going to sign it. All of these things are inevitable. And so I don't care about the Bengals negotiating tactics. We talked a lot about that with Trey. This isn't like that. This is apples to Clementine. I mean, this is much different, right? Those little cuties, those are pretty good, by the way. My daughter eats like 4 in a row. But it's comparing two different things. But you need Shamar on the field. I talked to, I want to see how far I want to go with this. I talked to someone that would know how important it is to get reps as a rookie coming in and how hard it is to get after the passer. That's how I'll put that. And this was not on camera or anything like that. This isn't a tease of that happening. But I was like, pretty important to have him on the field, isn't it? And the player said, yeah, it would be great for him to get reps and get acclimated with Jerry Montgomery and get used to life in the NFL. So I don't think that any of those things can be overstated. Like the importance of him, regardless of what is going on from a negotiating standpoint or what his agent's saying or what the Bengals are saying or the hang up, whatever. Let's just block all that out for a second. How important is it for the Bengals to get Shamar Stewart on the field so Shamar can get up to speed so he can help the Bengals? And everyone listening and watching right now wants Shamar Stewart to be productive. Even if you didn't want them to take him, even if you hated the pick, you want him to be productive. And the best chance he has to be productive right away is to get going on the field, to get comfortable, to start to learn things that he's going to have to do in this defense. And so these are valuable reps, really, really valuable reps for him.
One of the most important things for Shamar Stewart is going to be his ability to play fast in the NFL. His ability to understand what his responsibilities are within the structure of the defense. And once you understand your job on the defense, you can start to understand how opposing teams are going to attack you in doing that job. And once you can understand how opposing teams are going to attack you, and opposing teams are going to understand what your job is, and they're going to try to make that job hard for you, that enables you to come up with ways to deal with that, right? And so there are these steps in this learning process for Shamar Stewart going to a new defense at a new level with better players that make all of these reps valuable. Now, missing rookie camp last week was something that we minimized. It was not a significant workout in any way, shape, or form. It was an acclimatization. Is that the word Zach Taylor
Acclimation
used?
period. Yeah, acclimation
Acclimation.
period. Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's not a huge deal. But missing continued time at this part of the offseason when there is a little bit more intensity on the field and it will only continue to ramp up from here does start to add up. And so while we don't necessarily know for sure that Shamar Stewart didn't practice on Wednesday or Thursday, those practices close to the media, we've seen no evidence that he practiced. We don't have evidence. Maybe you do know for sure, James. I don't know. Maybe you've talked to somebody, but I don't know for sure. And I do think that the negotiating bit is interesting. I do think that the injury protection part of it is interesting, and we can talk about those things a little bit more too. We've talked about them a little bit in the past, but whatever it takes between these parties, getting this player on the field that you knew as an organization was going to need to develop seems to behoove everybody involved. It will be good for Shamar. It will be good for the Bengals. It will be good for everyone if they can figure out whatever the impasse is and get him these reps as much as they can, especially when Trey's out there too.
No doubt. I mean, that's what's great. I mean, the Bengals defensive line is worse right now. Well, far worse than it was at any point last season. Right now, if you look at it that way, and that's with a nose tackle for the first time since DJ Reader left town and TJ Slayton. But just to be very clear or fair or whatever you want to say, because we don't know exactly. If it's the other way, if it's because Shamar's agent's being a dweeb and being hard-headed, well, it's in Shamar's best interest to be out there too. And I'm not saying that's the case, by the way. I'm not calling him I don't even know who Shamar Stewart. I haven't gone that far yet. Just haven't. It's been a fun week. So I don't know who that is. But Shamar should be motivated as well to get his butt on the field, to prove everybody wrong. I talked to him after rookie minicamp, and I'm paraphrasing. I forget exactly what he said. But I said, what would you say to all the people that said, just 4.5 sacks, where's your production? I was like, I talk about the Bengals every single day, Shamar. Every single day I talk about them. Fans think of your lack of production all the time. What would you say to them? And he basically said, just watch. Watch me work. Well, I want to watch you work right now, right? And I think he wants to, but either the advice he's getting, the Bengals, a mixture of both, is getting in the way. I don't think this is a Shamar thing, by the way. You're talking about a 21-year-old that's going to get advice and listen to that advice of whoever's advising him. And you're talking about the Bengals, who, let's be honest, I could totally see the medical waiver thing being an issue, right? Like that's not out of the realm of possibility. So I really don't care. Figure it out and get him on the field. Like that's where I'm at a week, basically a week removed from rookie minicamp when he sat out. And that was nothing. You're right. But these workouts on the field now, they matter.
It's just another instance this offseason of like, hey, you got any teeth to pull? You got some pliers here. If you want to make this a little bit more painful this offseason, you want to just rip a tooth out of your mouth. Like that's what this offseason has felt like so often. It's pulling teeth. And I mean, that's what this front office has a history of. It's not like this is new, not breaking anything here, but boy, does it feel concentrated this year. And then last year with Jamar. And it's really like Trey Hendrickson said it himself, like it's wearing on people, kind of at the end of the rope on this stuff.
Yeah, I think. Well, that's why, like with Trey, it's like just make it a damn decision, one way or the other. Mm-hmm. Like if you decide you wanted to trade him, just do it. But like, someone was like, "Man, it's been a pretty negative offseason. You guys are pretty negative." Someone messaged me that, and I'm like, "Well, yeah. Have you paid attention this offseason? Like we're not going to sell you sunshine and rainbows if it isn't sunny and it's pouring rain."
I just remember last year, people were so mad at us because we were talking about our expectations for the team. Then they start they start with the one win and lose a bunch of games we think they're going to win. And they're like, oh, you guys are gassing them up. Why couldn't you just give us realistic expectations? Like, look, we're doing our best here. We're talking about what we see and how we see it. And Sometimes
And
it
they
doesn't
shouldn't
really
have
go
started
that way.
1-3. It's
No.
still stupid.
It's still so dumb. Last season was so dumb. This offseason has been so dumb. Got any teeth to pull? I do want to touch on what the points of contention might be with Shamar Stewart. We'll finish that up and then get into this conversation around Cincinnati hosting a draft. That could be fun and positive.
This will be
Coming up
fun.
next.
Yes. Today's show is brought to you by Gametime. I was having the conversation today about the Eastern Conference Finals because, well, the Indiana Pacers playing in Indianapolis, they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and I'm going to try to sneak my way. Spoiler: I'm going to try to sneak my way down to Indianapolis for a night, watching an NBA Eastern Conference Finals game, and that's the beauty of Gametime is I can make that call last minute. It's an hour and a half drive. I don't need to worry about tickets right now. I'm not worried about tickets right now to an NBA Eastern Conference Finals game because I'm going to get my tickets with Gametime. I already know where I'm going to go. They have killer last minute deals. They have panoramic seat views, no surprise fees. Gametime is a total game changer. And by the way, the NFL schedule, obviously it just dropped. We had a whole special on our last show breaking down the Bengals schedule. You better believe now's the time to look ahead to the games. Say that Green Bay game, that ticket to Lambeau, that's going to cost you. Well, save money with Gametime. It's going to make it so much easier to get tickets to any of your NFL games. If you're like me and an NBA head, to NBA playoff games as well. So check out the Gametime app by downloading the Gametime app, creating an account, and using code LOCKEDONNFL to get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON NFL Locked On NFL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Want to spend just a little bit of time talking about what the dispute might be between Shemar Stewart and the Bengals. I think a lot of people are probably curious about that. We have talked about that in some recent episodes, so apologies if you're hearing this again. But the contract dispute is over the timing of money. We talked about this earlier in the week, I believe. There are only so many things that can be negotiated in first-round pick contracts. One of those things is, will money be paid out as a roster bonus at the beginning of the league year, which is in March, or will it be paid out in salary? And probably where they're discussing this is in the final year of that rookie deal, because that's where the biggest salary is. There's about $1 million that could either go into the salary or into a roster bonus. Either way, that money will be paid. Either way, that money is guaranteed. It's just, do I get the money 6 months earlier than the start of the season, or is it paid out weekly in my salary checks, in my game checks? That's what's being negotiated between the front office and Shamar Stewart. Now, why it's taking so much time? I mean, this isn't just the Bengals. There are a number of teams still negotiating with their first-round picks, and there could be language involved as well. But when you boil it down to, like, we're talking about $900,000 to $1 million out of an $18 million deal, and we're talking about 6 months, 7 months of a difference in when that's getting paid. It seems insane that this is keeping someone off the field out of an $18 million fully guaranteed contract. So that's one part of it. That seems crazy to me. The other part of it is the part that we haven't been able to verify. And again, we've talked about this. There have been reports, Kelsey Conway from the Cincinnati Enquirer, the most reputable report on this, and certainly a reputable report. There is an issue with the injury protection in the participation agreement, according to a source. And I would bet you a sizable amount of money that's Shamar Stewart agent source, Zach Hiller, the agent for Shamar Stewart. And
I did know his agent. I knew we talked about this. God,
we did talk about it.
Yeah, we did.
And
I don't think we were on it, but we talked about it.
According to that agent or that report, it is unrealistic to expect Shamar to participate in voluntary practices until either there's a contract or more protection in the participation agreement. Demetrius Knight is practicing. Mm-hmm. So whatever those protections are satisfactory to Demetrius Knight and his agent. This hasn't been an issue for the Bengals before. I don't know if there is, we don't know the specifics here. I don't know if there's anything wrong with the Bengals participation agreement or not. We don't know those specifics. We do know that the representation for Shamar Stewart thinks there's a problem with it. Now, is that something that should be easy to resolve? Probably. Do I think it should also be easy to resolve the timing of paying out a small fraction of the $18 million fully guaranteed dollars due to Shemar Stewart? Also, yes. This should all be easy, but that's just, I guess, not how things work. You got any teeth to pull, James?
Well,
make this a little bit harder.
Yeah, I get I get that it takes time. Most of the first round is still unsigned. Like I'm fine with that. I just hate that he's not on the field now. It's just so important for him. I especially if you probably listen to our episode from draft night to now, I see the logic and the vision with Shamar. And so now it's like, all right, we'll put that vision together and on the field. Like I see the potential. Now do it. And by the way, the potential in year one. And this doesn't feel great. That's all. It doesn't mean anything. Maybe he goes out there and wins Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
But you're trying to set a certain standard. I did ask him about playbook wise though, by the way. And he didn't seem overwhelmed by that at all. Seemed like he was digesting it well. I don't know how much of the defensive playbook he's gotten either. I wonder the approach there, but just figured that's another little nugget. But regardless, get him on the field. Yep. It's important. I don't need Trey Hendrickson practicing right now. I kind of prefer he not, to be honest, just from not that it hurts anything. He's working out anyway, but Shamar needs these reps. He just does. He just does, especially if he's going to go sack Shedeur Sanders week 1.
There is this whole idea with Al Golden. A couple things. One, simplifying the defense. Hopefully these guys are understanding the playbook, because whatever approach Al Golden is taking to running the defense is digestible and understandable and is going to enable these guys to play fast and understand what they're doing. 2, we've heard this coaching staff all offseason talk about, having a plan, an action plan for the players they're drafting and the players that are on the roster to bring them along. Can't implement an action plan if the guy's not practicing. And so talk about the vision, talk about the plan all you want. You need to actually do the thing. You can't just have a plan. You need to then do the plan. Hopefully that happens sooner than later. You're right. It might not matter at all. And hopefully that's the case. Hopefully Shamar Stewart gets all the experience he needs in the preseason from now until preseason games is what I'm talking about, like off-season program, training camp, preseason. And there will be plenty of reps for him, especially with Trey Hendrickson trending toward missing some part of training camp. If he's going to hold true to his word and the Bengals don't get a deal done, that's certainly something possible. Could be a big opportunity for Shamar Stewart.
It's a huge opportunity.
Get him on the field.
Go win Defensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Abdul Carter, who?
Who?
Exactly.
Who drafted him? I don't even. New York?
The Giants.
Giants?
Yeah, the Giants. Yeah.
It's funny because you get these really good players sometimes going to some of these teams, and then they just memory hole them because of the teams they go to.
That would be my mindset. I'll tell you right now, that would be my mindset. Oh, 4.5. I'm going to have 4.5 sacks in 2 weeks to start my career.
Yep.
Like that would. So we'll see how it shakes out. I certainly hope next week when I'm there for the practice that's open to the media that we see 97 out there, that he's out there, that he's practicing, and that this is resolved. However, it needs to get resolved because everyone wants to see him on the field. Because somebody what?
Somebody might have a matchup with DeJuan Jones in week 1.
Oh, see, now we're going way back to should you have went after DeJuan Jones? Anyways, It's called Draft Talk. Speaking of the draft, is it coming to the Queen City? We'll discuss that coming up next.
Cincinnati Bengals are making a push along with the city to host a draft. The target being in 2028 or 2029, a report from the Cincinnati Business Courier. That would be fun. That's exciting. Also, if they're going to host a draft in 2028 or 2029, that suggests that they will still be playing in Cincinnati. Just interesting little tie-in to the ongoing stadium lease negotiations with a Bengals
What?
statement coming out about some stuff
Stop it.
on Thursday.
Oh my.
But
Yes, they will still be in Cincinnati. I tried to
it'd be
tell
pretty
people.
cool to host a draft. And the first thing
Chicagoland.
the
Dumbest
first thing
thing
that
I've
I
ever heard.
saw,
Their quarterback
like-
didn't even want to play there. Go ahead.
I don't know what you're talking about. The first thing
Talking
that I
about
saw when
Chicagoland. Nonsense. The Chicago Bears quarterback didn't want to play there
yeah, but why are you talking about Chicago?
because of that silly idea that was tossed out there by that reporter that you don't like naming, that national guy, the Chicagoland idea.
I don't know. What
You
you're
didn't see
talking
that?
about. No.
Oh yeah, like the Bengals moved to Chicago along with another team that's already there and make Chicagoland.
What a
It was
joke.
the dumbest thing. You really didn't see that? Dude,
No.
people like that like mattered here. There were like people that I would just randomly see would be like, "Hey, the Bengals aren't moving, are they?" I was like, "No, what are you talking about? They're not like stop it."
Blissfully under a rock on that one. But
Because
the
you live
report
on Jupiter.
indicates that the Bengals had previously focused on 2027. That was delayed to allow for the completion of a new hotel. And so they're hoping to make a formal submission to host the event. The next two drafts are spoken for, Pittsburgh and Washington, in 2026 and 2027. Baltimore expecting or hoping to host a draft in 29, 30, or 31. So the Bengals targeting 28 or 29. Some people are wondering where this would go and have some space concerns. I think that could be resolved. I think it'd be fun. I think that most NFL cities could do a good job of hosting the draft. And I think Cincinnati, the way that the space between the stadiums has been developed, assuming that's where they would think about doing a lot of this stuff, would be a pretty cool venue for an NFL draft.
Yeah, it would be awesome. I have no doubt about it. I think it would be awesome. I think a couple of things. You would use the convention center probably for the Fan Fest. Convention center undergoing some renovations and stuff. Do you use Union Terminal for the draft? And you go that way for the stage and stuff in the backdrop? I mean, it was used in Superman. By the way, that new Superman trailer came out. That looks pretty sweet.
If you could get the people in there, there's a lot of landscaping around Union Terminal. But man, would it be picturesque. I mean, that is the Justice League, right? Like it's a beautiful building. If they can figure out a way logistically to get people into that space with all the landscaping and the way it's been developed, that would be awesome. That's one of the coolest like visuals in Cincinnati, in my opinion.
Now for me, selfishly, like, all right, well, I go to the stadium, then bounce back and try to get to the draft and do both. Could be kind of challenging, but guess what?
Yeah.
I'm up for a challenge. I'll run back and forth, baby. Let's go. We'll take my mind time. We'll do that. No, I would think, one, I think it would be amazing. I hope it happens. It would be well deserved. I think obviously it would be mostly Bengals fans, but I think Bengals fans would just be ecstatic to have something like that. So yeah, I hope it's here. I just think it would be so much fun. I love the NFL draft. I'm the type of person that even long before you mentioned at the top, 2016, like talking about the Bengals a really long time. Even before that, though, locked into the draft. I mean, I can remember draft takes from way back when. And so, yeah, that would be really, really cool. And you think Mel Kiper will still be talking about Shedeur Sanders? Yes or no?
I think because it's in Cincinnati, you're in the state where Shedeur Sanders will ostensibly still be playing. And maybe not. Maybe by 2028, 2029, he's washed out, as happens to many.
Washed out.
Browns,
he's going to be $100 million quarterback. 100 million.
Maybe he will be. But you never know with the Browns, man. He's gonna. You've seen that jersey. Everybody's seen the jersey. It's dragging on the ground behind the guy at this point, with all the quarterback names that have been stitched onto it.
The Saints. There are a couple teams I think that should have probably gone after Shedeur earlier. But no, I was just kidding. I think Kiper is he would be good, and he'd be good in Cincinnati. He thinks like, remember, I mean, he was the one who defended Joe. Like, of course Joe's going to go to Cincinnati. Remember that? I mean, that's what's funny is the Shedeur stuff got annoying to some people, but 5 years ago, he was the one guy on ESPN really that was like, of course Joe's going to go to Cincinnati, where they had Boomer and they had Carson and they had all these guys that went there and thrived.
6 years ago now, right? How does time work?
No, it's 5.
Isn't Joe going
2020.
into his 6th NFL year?
Yeah, but he was drafted 5 years and a month ago. It's like
Okay.
April 20th, 2020 or something like that.
All right.
Remember when he had the Athens shirt on with the area code?
I just can't count higher than 4 or 5. So you're asking a lot from me
You're
here.
supposed to be our analytics guy, though. So,
Yeah, there's spreadsheets that help with that. You're not doing the counting in your head. Last topic today. Let's just circle back to the schedule. Draft would be cool. Agree with that. Since we did our episode reacting to the Bengals schedule yesterday, we've had a chance, of course, to see the schedules across the NFL, the disparity in prime time across the NFL. The Ravens, an even split of home and away primetime games, which is, I think, as it should be, as close to even as possible, especially over time. The Bengals, coming off a record-setting year for road primetime games, get a negative split in that department. The NFL schedule maker going on a bit of a podcast tour on Thursday, talking about, we would love to get the Thursday night game in Cincinnati, but so do it is what I would say. I don't know what the obstacle is. It's crazy that the Bengals are playing 3 straight short week road primetime games in Baltimore. That still stands out as insane. But across the AFC North, one thing that stood out to me, James, is the Bengals were involved in both primetime games featuring AFC North teams this year. There's only 2. The Browns didn't get any primetime games this year. The Steelers and Ravens aren't playing in primetime this year, at least yet. And so the Bengals with 1 home, 1 road primetime game, both primetime AFC North games.
Yep. Yeah, well, the Steelers are boring. That could change with Aaron Rodgers, right? The Browns are boring. That could change with Shedeur Sanders. But yeah, I think I get that. I thought about it more, and so the Madrid Spain thing. Everyone knows that the mayor was like, "Oh yeah, the Bengals are coming to town," and someone speculated like, "Hey, you think the Dolphins were like, hey, we would like Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, and the Bengals to be in Miami." And I think that that's what the NFL has kind of done here. Is they're like, yeah, of course we want them in New Orleans, and then we want them here, and then we want to get them there. And the thing that's annoying about that, and the way that doesn't hold up, is they always go to Baltimore. Every year they have to go to Baltimore. Why would you make that one a prime time? Like, they could have totally fixed this by just flipping them. 1 o'clock, Baltimore Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium, and then 2 weeks later, or you could flip them the other way, and then 2 weeks later, Thursday night, and go that way. Or the other way, where it's Thursday night at home, and I get it, you don't want to give 2 Thursday night home games, I guess. Why would that matter? Bengals fans are
Baltimore, the excuse was also that Baltimore had a road Thursday night game in Miami. And so they couldn't give Baltimore 2 road Thursday night games. They couldn't give Cincinnati 2 home. But like,
then don't give Baltimore that
you have all the
night
power. You're making those decisions, man. Figure it out.
Put it on Sunday and give them the Sunday 425 or Sunday night. You're telling me Lamar Joe doesn't sell? Yeah, like, what do we make Wednesday night football? Do Wednesday middle of the night football, because everyone's going to watch, because it's Joe and Jamar, and you didn't have to Joe and Jamar and Lamar. That's fun to say. Joe Jamar Lamar. Do it. Joe Jamar Lamar. See. It didn't
get back on track here, James. Get
Joe
back
Jamar
to
Lamar. No, but that's it. Is I think it's it makes sense for the teams. Like a few years ago, they go on the road to Arizona. Well, that game, Arizona, that makes sense. Miami, same thing. Like, you want those stars there. You didn't have to do that with the Baltimore game. And that's really the only hang up. Outside of that, schedule makes sense. Like, we knew they were going to go on the road to Buffalo, which is going to be a fun one. I have a lot of my, just go personal, unless you have any thoughts real quick. I was going to say, I have a lot of my.
One other.
There we go.
I have 2 others. We get to talk
8.
about our favorable early schedule talking point again. The Bengals have the 5th easiest schedule based on predicted wins. This is something that Warren Sharp put together in the first 4 weeks of the season. So first 4 weeks of the season, projected to be a soft schedule. for the Bengals. So we get to talk about how there's a favorable schedule again as last year to avoid a slow start. And the lesson we can learn from last year is that it doesn't matter how soft it is. Just do whatever you can, win the games. The other thing that I think we talked about a little bit yesterday, like there is one objective positive to the schedule, that it should be a favorable weather schedule overall. Should be maybe, Buffalo, December, you're rolling the dice, but could be later, could be more wintry. It should be a relatively good weather schedule.
Yeah. Buffalo in December, fine. It's fine with a little snow here or there. But yeah, I agree. I mean, the Green Bay in October, that's what I was going to say, is got most of the travel booked. Don't know that I'm going to keep it all, but you try to get that stuff done early on. I know Bengals fans are going crazy. Good luck finding lodging in Green Bay. I already know. I heard that it was already tough. And what was the other one that was tough? Oh, Pittsburgh hotel. Dumb. Like, why would that be that hard? And it was. I don't know if there's an event up there or what. And then Cleveland's always kind of weird too. Downtown Cleveland, finding a hotel there, but we're good. We're good.
There we go. We'll
I know
be
you
back
care about
next.
stuff.
Well, fans do, because fans are talking
No, I
about why
know.
they care about leaks, and they want leaks so they can get on those Airbnbs and whatnot before they jack up the prices or sell out, because that happens, or hotels, because that happens pretty quick.
No doubt.
We'll be back next week with another week in the Bengals offseason program. Surely there will be more drama. That's the offseason we've had. We'll look for some more
Just
teeth
get
to
Shamar
pull.
back. No teeth.
No
No
teeth.
teeth.
No teeth. That's going to do it for this episode of the Locked On Bengals podcast. Until next time, thanks for listening. Hooday, and have a good one.
Joe Jamar Lamar. Shamar.